What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on The Kevin Lee Show. And I am your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? It's easy. It's therapeutic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Pardon me. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Dirty 30 here on The Kevin Lee Show, a show that airs every Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and runs approximately somewhere close to, maybe a little over, but never under 30 minutes. Of course, I am your host, Kevin, and today we are going to be talking about, well, are we sick of all this yet? All of what? All of 2020. All of everything that is going on. I would have to say for most people, the answer would be yes. Potentially yes, potentially no. I'm not sick of it myself, but there's lots of things I am sick of. And for example, what would one of those things be? Well, that's simple. Today, just like last week, I had woken up with a renewed sense of purpose and that I was going to be able to, talk about positive things today and focus on things that were literally just positive. Pardon me, my voice is a little down. I don't know why. So anyways, I'm a little distracted. So I was, I was a little, disappointed today when I woke up to yet another shooting. This shooting occurred, of course, in Portland. If you haven't heard about it, we're going to get right into it, but I'm going to try to go over it briefly because you know what? There are other things that we can actually talk about that aren't, going to be, so terrible. Maybe. Hopping right over to here, we're going to watch a short video. It's going to kind of play out what happened. It was caught on video. There's nothing weird, it is very weird and strange. There's nothing grotesque. You're not going to see anything. In fact, this first video, you're not going to see anything. This happened to be someone who was walking by with their cell phone on, and apparently a shooting occurred. They picked it up and they heard it, but they didn't actually catch it on video. Okay? Oops. Apparently I did not rewind the video. I did. What the heck? All right, let's try that again. Bring it up here. Let's go full screen-ish and play.
Hey, we got a couple right here. Hold it out. Right here. You okay? Okay.
Now, obviously, that scene right there, that is a person who just got shot. Again, you're not going to see anything bloody or anything along the lines, but I wanted you to see this angle first before we play the next one.
Watch out, bro. She's trying to help him. She's the fucking man trying to help him. So let her help. Hey, let her help.
Do you need an ambulance? Gracie, do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, call the ambulance.
I'm calling.
Call 911, man.
Sir, I'm a medic. I just want to
Give me directions.
Help. Where are we?
Help, man.
I need treatment now.
Hey, they're right here. All you can, all you can.
Oh, hey. We need a medic.
Hey, you fucking shot him, man.
Now, take note what happens right here. Okay, there was someone who calls himself a medic. I don't know if they are actually a medic or if they're like an EMT, if they're a nurse, if they're in medical school. I have no idea who this person is, but they're claiming that they have medical expertise, at least much more so than the average person. They're trying to administer first aid, and the police come in and watch what the police are doing. They push her away.
Thank you.
Anybody see what happened?
Saw a little bit of it.
No, sir.
I just came up here.
I watched him drop and then I watched the car drive away.
What did the car look like? Somebody said it was a red car. A red car? A red car.
Anybody see it? Anybody have video of it?
I just heard the shots. I heard 3 shots. I heard 3 shots. I did. I literally heard everything else was JC. Where were they coming from?
3 loud shots from this corner. This corner. He's over here because one of his friends pulled him from in the street, that lane, right over there.
Everybody back to the corner. Clear the sidewalk.
Okay.
You, back
Grab that. Grab that.
Back to the corner. Okay, please get back to the corner.
Okay, so I think that was pretty cut and dry for what it actually was on the film, right? The film. I keep calling it film, on the video. But the next one is going to actually show it from a different angle, and it's going to actually be someone who's breaking it down. Let me pull that up right now. So a lot of it's going to be a repeat of what you saw, but it's going to be from a different angle, and it's going to be people, or a person, I don't know who this person is, breaking down the video and showing you exactly who the shooter is and who the victim is from a distance. So it'll be about the center of your screen. Now here it shows where the victim is before the gunshot and the shooter. Now mind you, we did hear on the previous video a much more clear audio talking about calling out, here they are, here's 2 of them, here they are. So this is a person who identified someone who obviously was a target of some sort for some reason. We do not know at this point what that reason was. Maybe it was getting back at someone. Maybe it was just something that was random. Maybe it was someone who had followed someone all day long. Who knows? But yeah, so let's get back to the video. It shows a shooter backing away. And the victim walking and falling. This is at full speed with sound. Victim falls. Apparently the cameraman does follow the shooter a little bit, as you'll see in just a second. And here's that same previous video we heard.
Hey, we got right here. We got a couple right here. Hold it out. Right here.
So you hear what he said right there. He said, we got a couple right here, pull it out. Obviously talking about the gun.
You okay? Jay.
And again, this is the same image we saw earlier with the victim laying on the ground. And again, you'll see there, and maybe we didn't talk about that enough initially. Right there was apparently one of his friends who was trying to help the guy on the ground. A woman came over who was a quote unquote medic, trying to help. He was very angry, didn't know who she was, didn't know what she was doing, just knew that she was probably part of the Black Lives Matter movement and got angry and shoved her, which is wrong. But again, in the heat of the moment, not knowing what's going on, not knowing your surroundings, it's somewhat understandable.
She's trying to help him. She's the fucking man trying to help him. So let her help. Hey, let
Y'all are not angry, you're not.
Okay, so right now, this is something else we're going to talk about. This is later on that night in Portland. Here is Antifa grouping together in a similar area to where the shooting happened, talking about the actual shooting. Listen carefully to what she says.
Paying attention. If y'all are not angry, you're not with me. Everybody needs to realize what's going on in these streets. Our community can hold its own without the police. We can take out the trash on our own. I am not sad that a fucking fascist died tonight.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear what she said? I am not sad that a effing fascist died tonight. And there's some cheers that erupt right after this. Now it jumps into a whole nother area again. I know I'm not going to show that part of the video, but I just wanted you to get an idea of the mindset of the people involved in and around the Portland area and with Antifa. So, since this has occurred on Saturday evening, there's been a lot of speculation as to who everyone was. They didn't announce who the victim was right away, and rightly so. They want to make sure the family's been notified so they don't hear about it on the news. Once everyone was identified or notified, they did identify who the victim was. Now, the shooter is still quote-unquote at large, but apparently many people have believed they figured out who this person was. I am not going to report it. I'm not even going to show images of who that person might potentially be because I'm not going to play that game. I mean, if the officials, police, whoever it might be, city officials come out and state who this person is, by all means, I'd be more than happy to show you, but I'm not going to dox someone who doesn't even know. We don't even know if he's actually the one who did it. But the victim we do know. And there was actually some confusion there as well. The initial reports were that there was someone named Jay Bishop that was the victim, but that apparently was wrong. The actual victim is Aaron Danielson, who goes by the name Jay. It's probably a middle name or nickname of some sort. But he goes by, it's Aaron J. Danielson, or the nickname Jay. And I will show a picture of him right here. This is him. I don't know what the friend, a sister, a girlfriend, can't really tell. She's blurred out, and for a good reason. So here's a picture of the victim. All right, so that's it. With that, like I said, again, I'm not going to be showing too much information, but there is another short video I do want to play on. This person claims to be this Jay Danielson's friend, good friend, who claims to have been there during the shooting, and in fact is wearing the same hat his friend had been wearing when he was shot. And I'll just let him speak for himself, and then we'll talk.
It escalated to the point that they executed my partner. They hunted him down. They hunted us down. They recognized our Patriot Prayer hats. For anybody who doesn't know Patriot Prayer, Joey Gibson, the Citizens Advocate, he's a good man. We support him. He's a Christian and conservative. So they identified our hats. We've got a couple of them right here. We've got a couple of them right here. Pull it out. Pull it out. And is that what they said? That's what they said. We turned around. It didn't even register that somebody was pointing a gun at us until the shots went off and took off running. The shooter took off running, and it takes a second for you to process everything that happened. Did he just shoot at me? Okay, I'm okay. Turn over, and Jay's dead. Because he believes something different than them. Jay's not a racist, he's not a xenophobe or whatever label, he's not an ist or an ism. He's an independent man. He's a good man.
And that is his friend. I don't think we actually have a name for him, unfortunately. Just listed as a friend. I'm sure you could probably find it if we did a deeper dive, but I figured his name was on here and realized I did not. He does not have his name on here. So sorry about that. Usually I try to have more information, but that being said, that is kind of the shooting that happened in Portland. Now there's some stuff that led up to it. Again, there's lots of stuff about the potential shooter. I'm not going to talk about that, but in the coming days, if there's any updates or any release of information or they capture someone, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. Changing gears. We are going to talk about, boy, did I not put this in the right order? I don't think I did. Okay, yeah, I guess I did not. So next we're going to talk about Adele. Adele apparently is a racist. Not really, but that was kind of the headline that was going around. And this is going to be the reason why. I'm going to show you the picture right here. And this is Adele. Well, let me go bigger so I can see it better. She is, obviously, if you haven't heard in the last, number of months, she has lost quite a bit of weight. She's gotten back into shape. She looks very good. So kudos to her for doing that. But this is a picture she posted on her Instagram. It is basically her in some type of festive wear, and it's got a bikini top that made out of the Jamaican flag, and she has what are called, I think they're called Bantu knots or Bantu knots. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, as a hairdo, and a lot of people freaked out very, very quickly on poor little Adele. That being said, they probably didn't freak out on her as much as some other people would have been freaked out upon because she is Adele, but she was still attacked pretty quickly. People were accusing her of appropriating culture, but they weren't really. Well, let me read the article here for you. So let's read a snippet of it. It says Adele has faced accusations of cultural appropriation after sharing an Instagram picture showing her wearing a traditional African hairstyle while making what would have been Notting Hill Carnival. In the photograph, the 32-year-old chart-topping act wore a string bikini decorated with a Jamaican flag and had her hair in Bantu knots. Small coiled buns typically associated, with people of African descent. The Tottenham-born singer captioned the post, "Happy what would be Notting Hill Carnival, my beloved London." And it says, however, Adele was quickly accused by Twitter users, many of them from the U.S., of cultural appropriation for using the hairstyle. Now, the reason why this is a story is A, of course, she's Adele, she's being attacked, but B, why she's being attacked and who she's being attacked by. If you notice in this article, it says mostly by U.S. people. Because in the U.S., we sometimes jump the gun a little bit, and some people don't do their homework and don't realize everything that goes into something, and as soon as they see something, they automatically assume it's cultural appropriation, and sometimes it's not. The reason why I can say that is because of this article. So it said, Notting Hill Carnival, what is it? So this is what she was talking about. She celebrates it every year. It's a carnival that's existed in the London area with a huge following since the mid-'60s, with even its earlier steps backing up to, I think, 1959. And in here it talks about Notting Hill is a huge street festival that takes place in London every year. It's all about celebrating Caribbean heritage, arts, and culture, including music, food, and dancing. And again, this year was taking place on Sunday 25th and Monday, August 26th. Of course, that did not happen, at least not in the traditional sense. I think it was supposed to be virtual. I don't know. But again, it talks about the history here. When did it start? The first festival was in 1966. And it was put in by someone called, I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not even going to try. But it goes on from there and gives you a little bit of information and some links to click on. But as you read right here, it says, it's all about celebrating Caribbean heritage, arts, and culture. The reason why that's important is because Adele probably was not appropriating anything. She was celebrating it. What I mean by that is this. Here's a definition. Definition of cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. Appreciation is when someone seeks to understand and learn about another culture in an effort to broaden their perspective and connect with others cross-culturally. Appropriation, on the other hand, is simply taking one aspect of a culture that is not your own and using it for your own personal interest. Now, someone could say she was appropriating it because she was just using it for her interest, but she wasn't. She was doing it in a celebratory manner. They were respecting the culture. They were celebrating its history. It's where they have festivals and music and food. I don't think she was appropriating anything. I think she was appreciating things. And, not that I really want to go out and defend Adele all the time or anything for the matter, but I don't like seeing people being attacked for something that they actually aren't doing. And for instance, I don't think she was appropriating. I think she was appreciating, as she did last year and the year before and the year before, apparently. It's nothing new, it's just how she did it. Next, we're going to talk about the thing that won't die. COVID. Another COVID controversy. Now, this one's a very simple controversy. So luckily, it's nothing terrible, nothing over the top. It's just literally a controversy because of something that someone said and that person, or tweeted, I should say. And it was tweeted and retweeted by the president, apparently, because it was posted by the CDC. There was some information that was posted. And there was some confusion. So first, I'm going to jump to the article that talks about it. So here, this says, Twitter removed a post that President Donald Trump retweeted Sunday because it contained a false claim about coronavirus death statistics, which violated the company's rules, which, of course, they're a private company. They're fully allowed to do such things. It says the tweet claimed that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released data that indicated only 6% of people listed as having died from COVID-19 actually died, in quotes, from the virus. But that is inaccurate. Okay? Goes on to say, in truth, the CDC data says 6% of the death certificates that list COVID-19 indicate it was the only factor in the fatality. The other 94% of patients had, on average, 2 to 3 contributing causes mentioned in addition to COVID-19 on their death certificates. Okay, so I understand where the original tweeter was coming from, and I understand where where these other side is coming from, and they're both kind of right, and they're both kind of wrong. So let's very quickly dissect this. So, and I'm going to bring up the CDC website as well to show you exactly what was actually written. It's very short and to the point, so it's not like it's a big long thing. Apparently, this 6% argument is that this original tweet was stating that the CDC is stating that only 6% of people listed having COVID had died from COVID-19 because they used the words "actually died." So, to a little extent, they're correct because on the death certificates they list the reason for death. Right? Sometimes it's very black and white and it's one cause. Sometimes it's 2 causes, 3 causes, and it can go up from there. But usually, they have to have a primary cause, and then they have subsidies underneath it. They claim it was somewhere around 9,300 people, about 6% of the total number of deaths had actually died solely from COVID. Now, that doesn't mean that they only died from COVID, to be honest with you. It just means that they didn't know of any underlying conditions, which they might have had or may not, and they recorded it as a COVID-only death. But to say that they actually died from the virus and only the virus, only these people, it's not true, of course. I would be dishonest. Now, do I think all 150, 160, 170,000 people, depending upon which numbers you believe or accept, do I believe all of them died from COVID? No. I believe a good number of them probably did, probably somewhat of an overwhelming number of that percentage, but it's going to be probably somewhere around 50, 60, 70, 75%. And the rest of them were people who were going to die anyways. They were either on their deathbed and acquired COVID from either being in a hospital or a long-term care facility or something along those lines. It's actually more common than you think. The thing that really bothers me is it's going to jump out here in the next slide. So this is a section on I'll go back to the top just so you know that I'm not making this up. This is from the Centers of Disease Control. They put out a weekly update of all diseases, pneumonia, what have you, currently right now COVID. And as you can see here, it is dated August 26, 2020, so it's just a few days ago. And the section that it was referring to that made reference to the tweet and in the article is right here where it talks about comorbidities. I'm sure you probably know what that word means by now, so I'm not going to bother defining it. But it goes on to say, for 6% of the deaths, COVID-19 was the only cause mentioned, like it said. For deaths with conditions or causes in addition to COVID-19, on average, there were 2.6 additional conditions or causes per death. That number is confusing but mind-boggling all at the same time. Because if you truly think about it, that means every person, 94%, not every person, but 94%, the overwhelming majority of people who died with COVID or from COVID, died with, on average, 2 to 3, and really you round up in this, so you would say pretty much 3 comorbidities. Now, a comorbidity isn't something like I have a cold or I stub my toe. A comorbidity is I have type 2 diabetes, and it's so bad that I could die from it. It's having renal failure, terminal cancer, emphysema, COPD, things that it could basically kill you on their own. And they're saying that that more than the average, 94% of all deaths recorded had people who involved 2 or 3 on average, which means there was people who had even more comorbidities. That to me is insane. That's the thing that just shocked people. Not just the fact that, people died from COVID-19 or with COVID-19, however you want to look at it. Hopefully this will be behind us soon and we can move on with our lives. But, chances are it probably won't. It'll drag out for a while, at least probably till the spring, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? And we have one more quick story. Do we? Did I go through? Oh, no, we're pretty much going to be done with that because one thing I actually wanted to say for the end was this. Some of you may or may not know, I am a White Sox fan. It's a baseball team here in Chicago and, in the good old Midwest. We've got two teams. I'm sure you've heard of the Cubbies. We also have another one on the south side called the White Sox. I'm a big fan. So was my brother. And I just have to state this for the record. I'm just going to put this up here full screen. I'm not even going to have my face on here at all because why don't you look right here. It says Chicago White Sox, first place. Reason why that's a big deal is it does not happen very often. And we like to appreciate that when it happens. So I'm just going to leave that up there for a second for the whole world to see. Now, in a week, that might be down in last place. Because if you notice, obviously, as we all know, this is a short season for starters. And second off, most of these teams, are either tied or a game and a half, 4 games behind. It wouldn't take much to catch up. But I have to say, the White Sox are playing rather well. And I'm proud of them. So, congratulations to the White Sox. Oops. Wrong button. Got buttons popping up all over the place. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do? Anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to be about it. But I hope everyone had a great weekend. And I hope you had a chance to relax and disconnect. That's actually what I did this past weekend. I decided I wasn't going to be watching any news programs. I wasn't really going to be diving into social media, and I did a pretty good job of avoiding it. Not perfect, but pretty good. And that's the reason why I said I woke up this morning surprised to hear about the shooting in Portland, because even though it happened Saturday night, I wasn't on Twitter all the time. I wasn't in Facebook. I wasn't anywhere, but I was going to see these headlines. I wasn't on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. I didn't go into any of the networks. I just kind of chilled, and I hope you did the same thing. I also want to remind everybody, before I forget, I suppose I'll just bring it up here now. We do have a website. And the reason why I always mention this is because so many times I will talk to people and they'll reach out to me and they say, hey, you know what, do you have any other podcast or where can I find this, or where can I find some information about you, or how to contact you, or, do you guys have any way of support? So that's why we have a central hub. It's called thekevinleeshow.com, and I'm going to bring it up right here. So it's kevinleeshow.com. And on here, you're going to see that it's a pretty basic website. I make it nice and simple. We have a listing of all the podcasts, Daily Dirty 30, which you're listening to right now, as well as my weekly show, The Libertarian Hour. And we also have specials for that as well. And then there's the Whatever with Kevin podcast, which is literally whatever. It's fun. Doesn't happen often, but I always recommend go back and listen to them because they're always classics. And usually instant classics, even when you're listening to them. We have Patreon, PayPal, merch, About section, contact us. And again, all our social medias here, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. As well as you can go right on here, and as you can see right here, it's actually streaming live. You can actually listen to the podcast live right on the website. Or you can watch the podcast live right on the website. Also, direct feeds to the social medias, just anything and everything you would ever need to know about the Daily Dirty 30 or the Libertarian Hour or whatever with Kevin. So just figure out what. Remind everyone, being that we haven't talked about it, about once a week we talk about it, just as a simple reminder. But again, I hope everyone has had a great weekend, had a good day, and I hope everyone has a good night and a good day tomorrow. And if you're listening to this at some point in the future, or watching it at some point in the future, I hope you have a fantastic day as well. And we will see all you guys tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we will. Lots of busy week for me this week. So I got lots of shows going on. I'm doing other shows. I'm hosting a special roundtable on the Libertarian Hour, which should air on Sunday, but I will have more information on that coming up probably midweek. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. I do want to have one more little thing here. We're going to play out with a thing that we started somewhat recently, and we call it the happy ending. What it is a video that I discovered, usually on TikTok, sometimes Instagram, just short little 5, 10, 15, 20-second videos. And this one caught my eye. It's not so much funny, but it's a little funny, but it just kind of caught my eye. And I thought, hey, you know what? You might like it too. So I figured we will close with that. And then after that, we'll be done. Sound good? Sound good. All right. So you guys... Oops. I disconnected my share screen. Tell you what. All right. There we go. You guys enjoy, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.
I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white. Okay, fine. Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right. Let's talk about abortion. question. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird.